Hello everyone. So for this video, we're going to have a discussion on URL shortening. So let's begin first with what is URL. A URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator and was coined in 1994 by Tim Berners-Lee, known as the inventor of the World Wide Web. Keeping it simple though, a URL is a web address. However, it has also become one of our most valuable online sharing tools. So where did the URL shortening all begin? From the launch of the World Wide Web in 1991, the digital world grew quickly. People were using the internet more and more, getting comfortable in this virtual space, and as digital users evolve over time, the URL evolved along with it. One particular user, a 24-year-old American web developer, was about to start something big. All of the users wanted to do was to be able to convert postings on unicycling news groups into web pages without having to deal with long, cumbersome URLs. He had run into this problem and just wanted to make his life easier with shorter ones. And so, Kevin Gilbertson, known by his friends as Gilby, created the first URL shortener, TinyURL, in 2002. Gilby didn't have any particular big plans for TinyURL either. He just wanted to solve this problem and improve his user experience, and I'm almost certain that he had no idea that he was kicking one of the soon to be rapidly evolving industry of URL shortening. So therefore, what is a URL shortener? URL shortening is a technique on the World Wide Web in which a uniform resource locator may be made substantially shorter and still direct to the required page. So why do we use or why use a URL shortener? So there are a lot of reasons why we are using URL shortener. One is that long unruly links look suspicious. Okay? A custom URL shortener lets you brand your links. Another is that link shorteners allow you to track performance. And another one, short URLs allows you to get to the most out of character limits on social media. And last one, shorter links are more memorable. Sometimes also a custom URL shortener lets you brand your own links is one of the most important reasons why some people are using URL shortener. But there are some risks also of having or using your shortened URLs. However, the disadvantage that with these URL shortening services, you are no longer able to see directly where your browser will be pointed. So therefore, there is also a risk in using those shortened URLs. So now, let me show you some of the most useful URL shortening services that we have on the web. So first, we have the famously known as your Bitly. Okay, so this is the interface that we have on your Bitly. So that is bitly.com. So therefore, you can easily or it has an ready accessible URL shortening service here. So you could put your lengthy URL here, then just click the shorten, then voila, you have your shortened URL. Okay, so you can already copy the shortened URL to use for your different webinars, to your participants, or even into your class if you are a teacher. Next, we have also your Catly. Okay, so let's try. This is the interface for your Catly. This is another URL shortener service. Okay, so it has also a readily accessible URL shortening service. So let's put your a lengthy URL here, then just click shorten, then that's it. You have a shortened URL. So by the way, if you could observe, a shortened URL have two parts. The first part is the name or the website you are using. For example, on this part we have https:/catly or cat.ly. That is the first part, which is the name of your URL shortening service. While the other part is the random letters that we could use or that is provided by your URL shortener or URL shortening service. Okay, so we have here. So another feature of this URL shortener service is that it could create or it could change your alias or modify or customize your own alias. Also, you could create your own QR code for this kind of URL shortening. But of course, it has its payment for it costs you $2.95 per month. Next, we have Su.gd or So Good, as I call it. So it is a URL shortening service again. So here we have the interface of it. Let's just type the or put paste your lengthy URL. Then we have here it can customize or put your own brand on your URL. So for me, let's try Sure Abs, Sure Abs 77. Okay, so therefore let's click shorten. Then voila, you have your shortened URL with your own brand. Okay, and it has also created a QR code for that link. Next, we have your short URL. So this is the interface for your short URL. So you could click here, then put your lengthy URL here to be shortened. Then click shorten URL. Then here you have it. You have your shortened URL. But unfortunately for this website, it can't customize your URL or your shortened URL. Next, we have your bit.do. So this is the interface for that. So here we have link to shorten. So just paste the lengthy URL you wanted to shorten. Then we have here, it can customize your link. So let's try my name of my funds, macaron. Then click I'm not a robot for its identification. Then shorten. Okay, then here you have it. We have your shortened URL. Okay, so that is, and you have your readily made QR code for that link. Okay, that's very fun of it. Okay, next we have your ad fly. So we could put here your lengthy URL, then shrink. Okay, so it states that you need to refresh the website first. Okay, then put it there, then shrink. Then that's your shortened URL. Then last one we have here. This is my personal favorite among all of those URL shortening services because it has a lot or it is the most usually used here in the Philippines. Okay, so we could type here a lengthy URL, for example, this one. Then you could also customize your own brand or alias for your link. So for example, we have again macaron 77. Then make tiny URL. Then here you have it. We have already created our tiny URL, already created your shortened URL. If you could observe, it has the former URL that we have shortened has or have 81 characters and it has resulted into 29 characters. Okay, so you can already open it in new windows or copy to clipboard already. Okay, so that's our different URL shortening services. We have a lot of them. Let me show you, but these are this following URL shortening services do not have a readily accessible feature for URL shortening, and they need premium accounts. Okay, we have also Rebrandly, we have your Short.io, we have your Linkly, we have your ClickMeter, we have your Blink, we have your Smart URL, we have your TinyCC, we have your CL Came, we have your Pixel.me, we have your T2Me URL shortener, we have also your tiny.ie, we have your URLs, and that's it. Those are your different URL shortener. Okay, so therefore, I hope that you already know how to shorten your URL that you could use for your different events, or if you are a influencer, you could use this to brand your links when you are posting it to your social networking sites. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you, and this is me, Mr. CompSciya. So don't forget to like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Thank you.